We put a lot of faith in systems to protect our freedom. Things like laws, constitutions, elections. But what if the real foundation of a free society isn't some document, but something way more personal? Something inside each and every one of us. Today, we're digging into that powerful and honestly often overlooked connection between a nation's liberty and the character of its people. So let's unpack this idea with a pretty simple metaphor. Imagine a free nation is like a garden, right? You can have all the perfect structures in place, a strong fence for protection, a fancy irrigation system, the best seeds money can buy. But what happens if you just walk away? Well, without someone there to actually tend it, to pull the weeds, manage pests, and just care for the soil, that whole garden is going to collapse. And that right there gets to the heart of it. A free nation is no different. All those external structures, they can protect freedom, but they can't sustain it all by themselves. For that, you need virtuous citizens. So that brings us to the big question then. What exactly is this civic virtue we're talking about? What is this thing that acts as the gardener for our freedom? Let's break this crucial concept down. And here's the key. This isn't just about following rules because you're scared of getting caught or punished. No, true civic virtue is an internal compass. At its core, it's the personal character to do what's right, especially when nobody is watching. So, what does this look like in the real world? Well, think about core virtues like honesty, courage, humility, and just having genuine respect for other people, even when you totally disagree with them. And here's the bottom line. Laws can guide our actions, sure, but they can't force us to have integrity. That has to come from within. Okay, but to really get why virtue is so essential, let's flip the script. Let's look at the alternative. What happens to a free society when that internal compass, that sense of virtue, is just missing? Well, the consequences are pretty severe. And wow, the difference is like night and day. When citizens are virtuous, freedom inspires them to protect other people's rights, to honor the law, and to serve their community. But without virtue, that exact same freedom can just decay into selfishness. And from there, it's a slippery slope to corruption, to power grabs, and to widespread apathy, where people just check out from their civic duties. This brings us to a really powerful shift in how we think about this. We often think of, the government or the military as the main defenders of freedom. But what if the true first line of defense isn't an institution at all? What if it's you? What if it's the individual citizen? So what does that defense look like? It's made up of real, concrete actions. It's voting. It's speaking up when you see injustice. It's teaching the next generation. It's helping your neighbors out. And it's holding our leaders accountable. And look, these aren't just nice little suggestions. They are the active duties of a citizen in a free society. I absolutely love this quote because it cuts right to the heart of the matter. The health of a nation isn't decided by grand speeches from politicians or by landmark court cases. At the end of the day, it rises or falls on the small, daily habits and choices made in ordinary households by people like you and me. And you can see how these small habits just snowball, right? The way we treat each other at the grocery store, the way we talk to one another online, the integrity we bring to our jobs. These are the actual building blocks of our national culture. And people are always watching. Our kids, our neighbors, even our future leaders are learning from our example. This really puts things in perspective, doesn't it? Freedom isn't some trophy that once you win it just sits on a shelf forever. It's more like a living thing that gets passed down. It's inherited for sure, but it has to be actively maintained and cared for. Each and every generation faces a choice. Are we going to protect and strengthen that freedom, or are we going to let it slip away? So, knowing all this, how do we make it real in our own lives? Because it's not enough to just understand the idea, right? We have to actually put it into practice. And that brings us to a little personal challenge. This is the key question. It's so simple, but so powerful. I want you to just take a moment and really think about it. What are 3 qualities, 3 virtues that you can personally embody that will ripple outward and strengthen your family, your community, and yeah, ultimately the nation? So here's the challenge broken down into 3 simple steps. First, physically write down those 3 virtues. Don't just keep them in your head. Second, choose just one to focus on for this next week. And third, and this is the most important step, intentionally practice it. Don't just write it down. Go out there and live it. And really, it all comes down to this. Freedom isn't fragile when its citizens are strong. It doesn't just survive, it actually thrives when ordinary people make the daily choice to live with extraordinary character. A nation is strongest when its people choose virtue over comfort and responsibility over apathy. The power, truly, is in our hands.